Chase Demoor, the GOAT.
So they called me, man. They said, you know, Chase, we need somebody to come and spice this up. We need like a good villain arc in this. And you know, it's a weird thing here, Chris. It's like, I'm not even the villain in this. I get to go beat up the bad guy for once. I think I've never been more excited in my life to do something.
Well, the villain, the good guy, welcome to Fight Week. We just said off camera, this might be the first narrative storyline fight that you've had because there's history with you and Minikon. Let's jump straight into that. You want to be the good guy. Is he the villain? Is he the bad guy? Why is he the bad guy?
I think the problem is like I'm the heel. I play the bad guy. I do a great. I'm a likable villain. Him, he's just not a good human. He's not a good person. I think that the things he's done online, from you know, even in our friend group, you know, messaging, you know, Dean the Great's girlfriends and causing problems in the gym. I've had to transfer gyms because of this kid. This kid. You know, he basically set me up against Nate Diaz and his entire crew, watched me get jumped by 5 UFC fighters, you know, pretended to be my friend, you know, just continuously talks a whole lot of mess online. You know, he just brings a bad narrative to the heavyweight division. Terrible boxer, and it's just like, I'm just really happy I get to be the one to retire him. You know, 31 years old. I think at that point it's time to have a wife and kids and settle down from the sport of boxing. I'm
not going to go into the personal allegations. He's not here to defend himself, so I guess we'll save that for press conference and stuff. But it'd be fair to say you feel betrayed by him as a friend.
Yeah, I feel very betrayed. I feel sick in my heart because he's somebody that, you know, it wasn't a whole lot of heavyweights when we first started Misfits in the beginning days. We trained every day together down in Jackrabbit. Coach Evan had the same coaches, went through the same struggles, and you know, you think that somebody will have your back when it comes down to these very intense situations, and you know, regards to the allegations and this and that, it's you know, pretty plain and simple. Everybody saw the video. You know, he sat there and he watched me basically get punched on by people that we didn't even know. You know, so I think that says enough about the type of character that you have, or somebody that really pretends to be your friend that's really not.
Quite often we see in boxing beefs and rivalries, whether they're fake, whether they're real, but at the end of the fight it's all squashed. Can this be squashed?
This one's personal. I said it from the start. You talked about my girlfriend, it's personally talked about my mom, it's personally talked about my records, etiquette, all that's been personal. And after I'm done whooping his ass on Saturday, guess what it's gonna be? Personal. And you know, I don't see a boxing match, a gentleman's agreement that this is gonna be squashed because I finally got to beat him up, or vice versa, however it turns out. It's just something that I look at, and it's, you know, fool me once and then fool me twice, and I'm not in this game to get fooled twice.
We're going to pick up on your last fights in a moment. We spoke about your narrative in the Misfits universe, but let's look at his last fights first. I assume you saw his last fight with Arms. What did you make of that? You
know, I watched his last fights. I probably watched that Arms fight 100 times, and I don't really realize like the level of boxing that you can grow to until you watch back, you know, people who haven't grown as much. And I just felt like in that fight, both the fighters, like if you can't get a guy out of there who left on a stretcher, you know, it's kind of embarrassing to me. I wasn't impressed by that performance at all. I feel like he was very delayed on his hits. I feel like he didn't really strike. He's not fast, he's not quick, he doesn't move very much. You know, and I looked at the rest of his fight records, the rest of his history. His last fight that he won was against Nick Knack, who also gassed out. You know, he had a draw with Jake the Viking, who was in his debut. He fought for some other random belt in a different league and lost that one. He lost the Arms, and I'm just sitting here looking at his track record to a bunch of people that he fought in comparison to me, and I just haven't been very impressed.
I think you've got to say for him, he's durable. I mean, the Jake the Viking fight I watched from ringside, from the apron, and he was getting some big shots from a big dude. Same in his last fight, Arms. Before Arms started to tire, of course, he's throwing big shots and Minikon's not going anywhere. Can you offer something that's different than those guys?
Yeah, 100%. I think the difference between me and those guys is Jake the Viking, boxing's all about experience. I can tell you that firsthand. Anybody who's boxed before will tell you, it doesn't matter how big, fast, strong you are. If you've never been in a boxing ring, that puts you at a severe disadvantage. To draw with somebody who's had multiple boxing fights versus somebody in their debut, that's apples to oranges. It's not a comparison. Arms, yes, he's a big, strong dude, but muscles don't win fights. Everybody in boxing knows that. You can throw those big, powerful shots all he wants, but here's the thing in boxing, it's all about precision. It's all about speed. It's all about how quick you're moving. I think the thing that I offer better than any of these heavyweights is I have a gas tank. Like I truly believe I'm the best heavyweight in a 5-round fight. I don't get gassed. I think Arms, you know, he's a good fighter. He's strong. He got gassed. Nick Nat got gassed. Jake the Viking got gassed. All these people that he's fought and lost to or draw to got gassed. And I think that's the difference between me and them is I won't quit. I won't stop. I'm just going to come at him with everything I have all the way to that very last bell.
Let's talk about your last fights. We won't go down the route of appeals and how they're doing and which body said what. Let's talk about the fight itself, because it was a competitive fight. It was a close fight. You came away believing that you'd won, didn't get the decision, but I think you showed a lot of people that you can hang there with Tempo Arts, who's a good young fighter coming through, and it's gone to a razor-thin decision. Have you worked on much since that fight?
Yeah, I think that my last fights, my time here in Misfits has just been, it's been really rocky. And I think like, I want to emphasize the fact that if you look at record, you'll never really see how good of a potential of a fighter anybody can be. If I were to go back and look at my record and be like, I'm never going to be anything, I'm not going to be a good fighter, it'd put me at a severe disadvantage because I've learned from every one of my fights. You know, I think back to my first one against Josh Bruckner, I learned how to have a gas tank. You can't go out there and just, you know, muscle your way through. I learned from Stevie Knight, you know, you knock somebody out, maybe quit punching. And
discipline.
Discipline, yeah. Maybe not deliver a couple arrows in him after he's down. You know, I learned from, you know, fighting a heavyweight champion, like courage from Alan Belcher. You know, he's the scariest guy any person would ever fight. And, you know, I learned courage from that. And I learned from Tempo. Tempo was arguably my best fight. He's a very talented fighter, and you know, whether me or the rest of the world believes I was robbed in that fight, he put up a good fight, and it was a highly skilled fight. And we, you know, the gas tank showed, the power showed, the strikes showed. You know, I came up short. That's boxing. You know, I'm gonna run that one back eventually. But you know, each one of these fights, yes, they were losses, but every one of them has been better than the last. I'm always bringing something new to the table. And you know, transitioning into like this fight camp, it's like, okay, well, now we know that we can, you know, get there and we can get these close fights. Now the transition is, let's close these fights, and that's something that we intend to do on Saturday. We intend to not go the distance. We intend to close this fight as early as possible.
Tempo Arts rematch 2024.
Tempo Arts. Oh yeah, Tempo Arts rematch 2024. That's gonna be a headline fight. That's gonna be, he knows what's coming. I know what's coming. That's a storm waiting to brew. That's the next hurricane coming. And you know, after we get Minikon out of the way, you know, whatever road, sea, mountain, or skies in the way, you know, we'll skip, run, and fly our way to get that rematch. And when we do get there and we're in the ring with him, you know, Tempo, just, I hope to God every day that you're training your ass off, because I am. And it's the new Goku and Vegeta story. It's the new Dean and Waleed story. It's the redemption arc, the revenge. And I'm coming with everything I have. And so I hope he's training with everything he has. So,
well, the villain, the hero, the GOAT, the nice guy.
The vigilante.
The vigilante. Welcome back to Misfits Fight Week. Can't wait. Leeds, baby, let's go.
Good to be back, baby. The champ is here.